Yan, we have 5 people there. Hi everyone, this is Karen from Online Healing Community. Welcome to Creating Space. This is a space for us to share stories and reflections related to personal growth and healing. And today we're going to talk about self-love or talk about Project Loving Yourself with Sanaiyah Gurnamal. And Sanaiyah is the founder of Third Eye Wellness Center. She's also a Theta Healing instructor and practitioner. And recently, she's a podcaster. She's the host of Project Loving Yourself. So, friends, please welcome Sanaiyah Gurnamal. Hi, Sanaiyah.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
I'm good. Congratulations. You just finished season 1 of Project Loving Yourself. You interviewed 24 celebrities on self-love, self-discovery, and well-being. And now you're on your second season. How was that right for you?
Honestly, like the podcast came to life in August of 2020, excuse me. And it's only been, it's barely been 6 months and I've completed season 1. As you said, there have been 24 speakers that I've interviewed across the 24 episodes. And it has gone beyond my expectations. I have had just amazing conversations. The feedback I've gotten from our listeners in every way, this has been really a beautiful experience of podcasting and connecting to people via the Project Loving Myself podcast.
Yeah, I've been listening, and first I was really amazed by your guests. You have like top A's, really top of the line celebrities, and they were sharing about their journey in healing, and they're talking about their personal experiences, and it's really beautiful to listen to them and to hear the conversation. What's your most profound realization when you were speaking to the celebrities?
I think the most interesting thing for me, Karen, is we know a lot of these people that I interviewed. We know them as faces we've seen on screen, on media, but what's so beautiful is to see the story behind that face, right? To see who is this person? What is the journey that they have taken? Where did they start and how did they get here? And I think that is the beauty of every individual, that we're each unique and we've all been through our own challenges, our own learnings. And I think by sharing experiences, whether it's with our friends, our family, whether it's online through, a live stream or through the podcast or even through media in any way, I think by sharing our stories, we help other people, we uplift them, and perhaps even we can help them do it a little easier than we did it. So I think that talking to these different people, whether they're celebrities or influencers or experts, I think I've gotten to know a lot more about their journeys, and I've been able to sort of take the important lessons out and share it with the listeners of the Project Loving Myself podcast.
Yeah. What's some of the interesting stories that really made a mark for you?
Well, I started off the season really just talking to people about their personal journeys. But as the season, progressed from the first 6 episodes and moving into sort of the next 6, I realized that everyone has a theme, a very specific life theme, whether it's like mental health or it's, healing the inner child or relationships and soulmates. And so once I started to be a little bit more focused on the thematic element of the person's life, I think I was able to get a lot deeper into the story. Whereas before, when I started the season, it was more of an overview of the person's journey. But, towards the middle and towards the end of the season, you can see that it got very specific and it got very, I would say even intense for some of the guests, because I was actually doing healings on the podcast. So I did like an inner child healing. I did a soulmate manifestation. I talked to one of the guests about karmic baggage and sort of, things that he was carrying from his ancestors. So we got very deep into things. And I think that what was really fulfilling for me, Karen, is these guests all came out with something, you know? So I think, like, when you do a media interview or you do anything, it's more about what you are conveying to the audience, right? It's you're giving. As someone who's being interviewed, you're giving. But I think what I really loved about the experience of doing the podcast with my guests is they were giving to the audience, but I was giving to them. So all of them, many of them actually remarked separately to me that they got something really profound. They got a healing. They got an understanding. They got self-realization. They got something from the experience. I think even sometimes more than what they gave to the listeners. And I think that's the beauty of sharing.
I love that you get to heal while you're interviewing them.
Yeah.
How did you move towards that?
I'm a well-being coach, right? So it's like, I can't help it. Like, even though I'm just having a conversation, I can't help it. I kind of see what the person needs and I kind of go in that direction. So it happens very naturally.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was because I was listening to some of the episodes, they were really openly sharing about what's happening in their lives. Like, they'll talk about panic attacks. They'll talk about being disconnected. They really openly share. And I was thinking, how did she get them to talk? I mean, these are really really personal sharings that it's sometimes, even me personally, and I'm not a celebrity, I don't want to share it out there in public, and they were there sharing it. And I guess you just answered it because you were healing them while they were being interviewed, and that's why they're able to talk. Do you want to add something else why you're able to share so openly?
Yeah, I think it's like the title of your show. It's creating space, right? You hold space for people where they feel safe and they feel comfortable and they feel that if they share, they won't be judged for it. Right. And I think that everyone listening on the podcast, I didn't get a single feedback of someone saying like, what? Why would you share that? Why would you talk about that? Instead, we got people posting and reposting saying, I totally understand where you're coming from. Or, this is what I'm going through. This is the answer to my question. So people were relating to it. And I think it's a conversation long overdue, right, Karen? I mean, mental health and things like panic attacks and anxiety and depression, we've kind of hid it for so long. It's time for it to come out in the open. And if our role models or if our influencers, of people that we relate to on screen, through social media, if they are talking about these kind of subjects, then we are more likely, or other people are more likely, to feel comfortable sharing, talking about it, and most importantly, getting help.
Right. What you're doing is you're putting a spotlight on mental health, on self-discovery, and on self-love. Is there a common pattern in the celebrities or experts or in influencers who are in this journey of self-love, self-discovery, and well-being?
It's so interesting that you asked that question, because I've thought about this before. And if you notice how movies are made, right? There's always like a hero in the making, right? There's always someone who starts off like who's struggling with something. And by the end of the film, they turn into the hero, right? And so that's the pattern that I see with everybody. Everyone's got challenges. And through these challenges, they grow. They become stronger. They become the best they can be. And then what you get, or what you see, is the hero made. The person who has reached that place where they can be proud of who they are and they love themselves, and now they want to share. So I'm getting people at that point where they've been through it all, they've overcome it, they've conquered, and now they're ready to give back to the community, to give back to other people, to share, so that other people can also, get there. So it's one person helping the other. And that's kind of the
Right.
pattern I see with most of my guests is they've been
So
through it and they're helping.
great. So at some point, their struggles, their challenges, make their story better because now they're since they've overcome the challenges, now they can talk about it and they can
Right.
be like, yeah, the ambassadors for that.
Yes.
Cool. Do they have rituals like a common like do they all meditate? Do they have
Yeah.
certain morning rituals or evening rituals? Or are there certain things that they most of
Yes.
them do?
That was the most awesome thing to find out is almost everybody I interviewed was meditating, waking up early in the morning to do journaling, to have their me time. They were doing all kinds of things for self-care and self-love. And it was consistent, like everybody was doing something that they've learned is what they need to do. Like that's what they need to do to keep themselves mentally balanced.
Right.
And
Yeah, I was listening to your interview with Maxine Magalona, and she said she would wake up at 4 a.m. every morning. And then initially she wasn't aware of it until after 6 months and she said, oh my gosh, this is a habit. This is really it. And then she figured out a ritual around the 4 a.m. thing.
absolutely. And so there's this book. It's Robin Sharma, The 5 a.m. Club. And he talks about, how if you wake up in the morning and you do your rituals, then your entire day flows in harmony. And it was interesting because it's like almost all of my guests were doing some form of that. And in fact, the other day on season 2, I interviewed a sex and relationships therapist. So she's not necessarily like a well-being influencer. She's very clearly in the field of therapy. She's a psychologist. So she's actually more on the medical scientific side. And I didn't expect that she would also be doing some of these practices, but it turns out she's doing like NLP. She was doing mindfulness. I mean, she was doing meditation. And it really kind of surprised me because I said, wait a minute, it's really just across the board to get to a place where you feel that that you can impart this on other people or with other people. You have to have your own practices. You have to have your own ritual. So it's sort of the minimum at this point for people who are on this kind of a journey.
Right. I completely agree with you. That's important. That you have something that you have to do daily. Can you share your ritual, one of your rituals?
Absolutely. So I'm actually currently pregnant. So my ritual has changed quite a bit. Yes, currently. But before my pregnancy, when I had a lot more energy in the mornings, I would actually wake up and I would do meditation. And then I would journal. And for me, journal was kind of putting down my thoughts, sort of reading my goals and visions and making sure that what I'm doing currently is in line with that. Okay. So I would take some time to get my thoughts out. And I'm also writing a book. So I would do a little bit of writing in the morning. And then I would do a workout at that point, some kind of workout. And if I didn't work out on that particular day, then I would spend a little bit more time writing. Okay. I would also do all my content writing in the morning. So anything that I'm putting on my social media would always be sort of coming from me in the morning when my mind was at its sort of freshest. And that's where I wanted to really communicate to people. So all my kind of bare thoughts were really coming from the early morning rituals. Okay. Now, since I got pregnant, it's a little bit different. I don't wake up as early since I need a lot more sleep. So my rituals changed. I do a little bit more work at night. So sometimes, people's schedules don't work with a morning routine. You can always shift it to an evening routine. I do a lot more yoga than I was doing prior to the pregnancy. So, I just want to share that we can all create our own ritual, but we can also adjust and be flexible when things in our life actually change.
Right. I love that you emphasize that. You don't have to stick to just one ritual. And so what I notice is for me, it usually evolves. I probably would do this for like 4 or 5 years, but then after that, I'll have to add something else or change
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And in fact, right now, Karen, I've noticed that just it's the way my body feels. So I think we have to really listen to our body. I need to be out in nature, in open air. So previously I would work at my desk, like in a room, and I would take
Mhm.
breaks. Now I actually I work in the open air. My entire morning is in open air, so I can hear the birds, I can see and feel the sunlight and the breeze. And so that's just something that my body needs right now. That's like how I'm feeding my soul. So I think we just have to listen and find the ritual that's really working for us or connecting with us right now.
Wow, that's beautiful. I can just imagine you work on a desk, but outside, outdoors, with the sun and the trees and the birds. Oh, that's beautiful. I would love to work that way. That's really beautiful. And now, you've just lost, or you're doing your season 2 for Project Loving Yourself, and you're also doing the Youth Festival. It's going to be this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Can you tell? So you have so many projects and everything connected to well-being and wellness. Can you share and tell us more about that?
Um, Sorry, can you repeat the question, Karen? I
Yeah,
lost you for a second.
I'm sorry. You just finished. You're doing Project Loving Yourself, and you're obviously doing healing, but also you're creating festivals. Actually, I did message you about this. We did Kaya Natin To Festival because we were so inspired by the first UFest festival that you did, and now you're doing a second run. Can you tell us
Uh,
more about this? The
So
new
yeah,
one.
absolutely. So during the pandemic, we just felt like people were looking for, an inward journey. They were looking for more. They were looking to go within. And so my healing center, my well-being center, the Third Eye Wellness, partnered with the wellness group, and we created this live event for 4 days actually in August. And we basically brought speakers together to do lots of classes, do lots of different share tools, meditations, and so on. And so this is our second run. It's on February 26th, 28th. And this one is bringing in speakers from all over Asia to do meditations, talks, classes, workshops. We're really kind of creating this energy of focusing on you, which is why it's called You Wellbeing Festival. And I was really excited to find out that our U Fest sparked an event that you did. So this is how we kind of share and we spread the positive energy, and we get more and more people involved.
Okay. So what will they expect from this festival?
Okay, so it's an event that runs from about 8 a.m. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And every hour we have a segment. It could be a creative workshop, it could be an informational talk, it could be a meditation, it could be an active class. And so we have a schedule over the 3 days. Now, for those people who buy a ticket, they can attend any of the live events. And if you want to attend the events on your own time, maybe you're in a different time zone, or maybe you want to repeat any of the classes, or you didn't get to do all the classes you wanted to do, we have replays or recordings of the events for 1 month if you get a regular ticket, or 3 months if you get a premium ticket. And so essentially we give people access to virtual well-being. Our attendees last year, we had the event in August. I mean, they said it was the most beautiful sharing event. They learned a lot, they met like-minded people. They did a lot of healing in the process of the event. And so it was kind of like, it's like a candy store, right? Karen, you get like
Yes.
really everything in one place. And so the weekend is really dedicated to you well-being. So it's focusing on your mind, body, energy. It's really kind of learning skills and tools. And I believe you come out of the event after the 3 days and you just feel refreshed. You feel like you've got clarity about your life. You might have more purpose. You feel a lot more relaxed and calmer. And suddenly you realize, oh, wow, there's so many possibilities. There's so many tools out there for me. So I think it's a great way to explore your own self and to get started on a well-being sort of journey if you haven't already been doing things to kind of work on your well-being.
How is this festival different from the first one?
Well, in this festival, we've actually opened it up. So it's more of an all Asia event. The first event in August was really focused on the Philippines. And so a lot of our facilitators were locally born, or they've really come from the Philippines. And this one in February has a little bit of a different audience. We kind of wanted to open up all of Asia so that people are connecting with each other. I think that's been a huge theme with the pandemic, is the connections. And so we wanted to build more connections across Asia. In terms of the kinds of events, we've definitely gone into more advanced level events. We've gone deeper into well-being. And we've definitely learned a lot from the first event. So I believe it's going to be better.
Right. And you focus on certain topics per day.
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
each day has a theme. This year, we start with inclusivity on day one. The second day is safety, connected to a lot of different themes, but sexuality is one of the big themes connected to safety. And on day three, we talk about community. Okay. And I think what's really exciting for this event are the panel discussions. Last year, we really did one main panel discussion on beauty and how beauty comes in different forms. So we had a lot of like Miss Universe representatives from different countries. We had people, who were talking about beauty from the Middle East. It was a very interesting conversation. And so this year we decided to do 3 panels. And so each day we have a panel discussion. The panel discussion is from 5 p.m. to 6:45 every day, Philippine Standard Time. And in the panel discussion, we have about 4 to 6 speakers representing different sort of streams of thoughts or different themes, and they're going to come together, and there's going to be a beautiful sharing and conversation. So day one for inclusivity, we talk about diversity, we talk about discrimination, we talk about how no matter what we look like or where we come from, we're actually one and the same, and how we can sort of bridge that gap. Okay. And day two, the theme is safety. So we talk a lot about sexuality. We talk about identity. We talk about sort of the gender gap. We talk about expressing yourself and feeling safe in doing so, vulnerability. So very, very, I think, relevant and interesting topics for people. And finally, on day three, which is community, we talk about how we can be the change. How can we be more sustainable? How can we do small things to really give back to the community and really just forge that sense of community wherever we are, okay, and bring people together instead of sort of create the separations that are causing problems all over the world.
Right. Wow, that's a beautiful program. I actually love this, that you're reaching out all over Asia. And I agree with you. It's really connection. That's what happens. That's a beautiful thing with the pandemic. Of course, it's not beautiful, but that's the thing that came out, that it's easier to connect with everybody. Like I'm in Tagaytay right now. You're probably in Manila, but we get to connect. And now with this pandemic happening, you can connect virtually. You can reach people all over the world.
I like to say, Karen, in isolation, we look for connection. And that's what the pandemic was, right? It was isolating. We were quarantining. We were cut off from our loved ones. And so in isolation, we actually are forced in a way to find new ways of connecting with each other and connecting with each other on a deeper level. And so really, that's a huge learning, I think, for me and for a lot of people. How can we connect better? How can we use these different mediums? How can we sort of connect with ourselves? Because perhaps the biggest disconnection of all is the disconnection we might have with ourselves.
Right. The biggest disconnection of all is the disconnection we have with ourselves. For those who are new to healing or new to self-love and self-discovery, can you please expound on that?
Well, I think that life is full of distractions, right? We go to work, we have things to do, we have, you know, all kinds of things happening in our space that sometimes we forget to listen to what's going on within our own bodies. You know, we don't ask questions of ourselves because we have to answer to other people around us. I also think that we spend a lot of time maybe doing things for other people, and we forget that we need our own attention. We need love. You know, we need some care. And so learning to prioritize your mental, physical, emotional well-being while still being of service to other people, I think that's something that we can definitely learn to master better. Never to sacrifice ourselves for others, that instead we can be in a better place to be able to help people when we're taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, you talk about sacrificing ourselves for others. Why is it so easy to just do that? I see so many women, especially, sacrificing everything, their time, their resources for others, putting others first before themselves.
You know, it's been something we, I think, have been programmed. I think any culture you're from, any religion you're from, it's sort of like sacrifice yourself for others. And I think that theme of sacrifice is present in so much of our upbringing. But I think what happened is it wasn't meant to you know, it wasn't meant to be a way that we forget about ourselves or reject ourselves. It was just supposed to be a way of being of service to others. So I think the message got a little bit distorted over time, and I think that people are finding more and more that when they are sacrificing themselves, they end up depressed, they end up lonely, they end up sick. You know, there's a whole host of negative consequences of the sacrifice. Like even a mother, right, who's taking care of the family and the children. You know, I'm sure there are mothers listening in on this conversation. So honestly, chat down below if you agree with me. How many of you actually spend all your time taking care of the people you love? And sometimes maybe you don't feel appreciated, you don't feel recognized, or you feel like maybe you didn't get respected or they didn't speak to you in the right way. And so even though we're doing so much for people we love, sometimes we carry some negative feelings, or we feel drained or exhausted. Maybe we feel like people are taking us for granted. And so we're creating these kind of situations where not only are we not loving ourselves and prioritizing ourselves, but we're teaching other people that we're not important. So I think that's a key message as well, Karen, is that if you don't make yourself important, no one else will. Okay, so it starts from you. And if you can teach your children that your time is important, that you are important, and that, you know, you're a person aside from just somebody's mom or wife or daughter, that you have your own identity. I've noticed my children really respect my time. I've noticed my children really sort of look up to what I do. And so I'm teaching them to respect me. I'm teaching them to love me. I'm teaching them to appreciate me and recognize me, because that is how I'm treating myself. And they're
Yeah.
learning
So
from that.
right. So people treat you the way you treat yourself.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I saying definitely agree. And I need my glasses. That is why we had a session for women and moms. Yeah. During Kaya Natin to. And with the pandemic, the moms are really stretched out because they're not just moms, they're also the teachers and even workers from home. So they have to take care of so
Completely.
many things.
Honestly, like I used to go to work, drop my kids to school, and then, you know, I had my work time and then my home life. And after the lockdown, you know, everything's in one place. And I think it's so much harder to work from home because now you've got like the online learning, you've got everybody knows you're present, right? So everyone's walking in and asking for your attention all the time, right? And I had to learn that I have to go and put myself in a room and close the door. And it was okay to lock the door when I didn't want to be disturbed. Like I was feeling guilty, like, oh my God, what if somebody needs me? And I learned that the only way I could be productive and manage my time better was to really have dedicated time for myself. where I could get what I need to get done. And that made
Right.
me, be a better mother, be a better wife, be a better, in every way I was better.
I will take that. Lock the door when you need to work. Because sometimes you're in the middle of a Zoom meeting and somebody, can you please get this fixed? I'm in a meeting. What are you doing? And I completely agree with you. I don't even have kids. I mean,
And
it's so
the,
hard
the
when
funny thing is,
everything's at
Karen,
home.
the funny thing is, this is one thing that a lot of moms tell me. They can't even go to the bathroom in peace because their kids follow them. Okay. I'm sure there are people who can relate to this where, like, the kids are knocking or they're following you. And I know a lot of moms feel like they don't even have the privacy to go to the bathroom, on their own. And it's really a challenge. This is like, the struggle is real for women out there. And I think what we need to learn is to respect and value our time and to have boundaries and teach people around us, how to respect our time. And so,
Can
it's really
you,
interesting.
yeah.
Now when I record on Zoom, like let's say I have a meeting or whatever, and my
Mhm.
son walks in the room, he sees me recording and he literally just smiles and he walks out. So he's learned not to kind of interrupt me simply because he sees how, dedicated I am to it. And I've stopped letting the disturbances into my space.
Right. So, like you said, boundaries. Create
Boundaries.
boundaries. Right. Can you share tips for working moms, especially now during the pandemic? Like everything moved to the home environment. What are tips that will save them? At least give them some space. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine not even having time for bath or time to go to the restroom in peace. I can't imagine that life.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Especially, yeah, and especially pregnant moms. Because a lot of moms are scared to go to the hospitals usually at this time, or scared to be out with people. But especially for pregnant moms, I heard they're twice as well. I just interviewed a pranic healer who's pregnant, and she said, I've been meditating every single day, but I'm so scared for my baby. And I keep doing all these practices, but I'm still, and she said, I have all these rituals, but I'm still scared.
well, I definitely think the one thing we have to work on is fear, not to be scared so we don't attract these situations. But, there is a pandemic going on. We can't do anything about that at this point. We have to kind of work around it. But I'm not an expert on what moms can do. I can only share sort of the things that have worked for me, and definitely setting boundaries and being very clear about what is my space and my time. And I usually I tell my children, okay, I've got this happening at this time. So I kind of prompt them and I bring them in on everything I'm doing. So there's no uncertainty, so I'll tell them, like, I've got a recording and I'm going to be away for this much time, but after I'm done, we can do this. So I really kind of like inform my children what's going on so they know what to expect. I've learned that I have to find my own space and I have to close the door. Like I said, lock the door if you need to. And I've also learned how to stack my time. It's a tool that I've actually talked about in a podcast before, where I talk about how we can kind of manage our day and plan our day so we can work around everybody else's schedule and do similar things together. So, for example, if I want time to meditate, I can do it together with my workout. And so it becomes associated and then it's easier to do. Because I think what happens is when we've got a lot of things to do, it's very hard to manage all of it. But if you tag them all together and you do them like in blocks, I think it's easier to do things like that. But at the end of the day, as much as I can give you all these tools and tips, it's really emotional. Like, if you value your time and you respect your time, you'll teach other people in your own way how to value and respect your time. So whatever like you feel, that's the kind of energy I would work on, is what's going on in your head. If you feel guilty all the time, like you feel like you need to be there everywhere, then you're gonna really stretch yourself,
Right.
and it's gonna be hard. So I think it starts with kind of what's going on like in your mind, and sort of work on that.
Right. So check in with your feelings, check in what's going on with your mind. And I love what you said about valuing yourself. Like if you value yourself, everybody else will value you as well. So it's really how you treat yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think a lot of women sometimes feel that everybody else is their time or their job, or, they are more important. And honestly, I think the hardest job is being a woman and taking care of other people. So I think that is really something we should recognize, we should celebrate, and we should really, really appreciate about our own selves.
True. I completely agree. And the You Wellbeing Festival is a celebration. I was talking to Christina the other weekend. She says it's about celebrating yourself. How do we really, do we ever take time to celebrate ourselves? We don't. We don't celebrate how amazing we are.
Yeah, and I think that we need to, even just doing something for yourself is an acknowledgement, right? It's a celebration of a kind. I think taking an entire weekend, 3 days out of your, 365 days in a year, 3 days for yourself, and it's not about all the other things you need to do, right? It's about yourself. And you're going to learn, and you're going to meditate, and you're going to do some classes, and you're going to just enjoy being in this really beautiful space where you have access to all kinds of things that maybe you don't have time for in regular life. So I think the celebration is the fact that you've taken those 3 days for you, right? At You Wellbeing Festival. So it's really all about you.
So I'm excited. I and I will definitely be there. That's going to be, it'll start this Friday, right?
This Friday, yes. This
Um,
Friday, our first event will be opening with a welcome and a meditation, and that will start at 7 a.m. on Friday. That's GMT +8 or Philippine Standard Time.
So yeah, so hopefully we can see everybody at the You Wellbeing Festival. And they have, I was looking at the schedule, they have a schedule every single hour, even at 12 o'clock. So,
Yes.
but I know you have recordings. So if you can't complete the classes, we can still go back to the replays, right?
Absolutely. And, there's Spartan race coming in, there's martial arts, there's yoga, there's topics about like hormones and working with your hormones, nutrition, gut health. We're really like across the board, So I think that there's something for everyone and a lot more.
Right, right. So we're so excited to be there this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sanaya, we usually close the interview with a short meditation. Can you lead us?
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask everyone to find a comfortable position. Okay. You can sort of lean back if you'd like. You can sit cross-legged. And I just ask all of you who are listening to close your eyes very gently. Okay, and I want you to take a deep breath in. Go ahead and breathe in through your nose and breathe out through the mouth. We're going to breathe in through the nose. Breathe out through your mouth. So this is called a cleansing breath. We're breathing in positive energy, and we're exhaling all the toxins, all the negative energy that we have collected over our day, our week, our month. Okay. Now I want you to imagine that there is a golden ball of energy coming up from the heavens, from the skies, and it's sort of coming down into your space. And I want you to visualize, just use your imagination, that this golden ball of energy enters through the top of your head. We call it the crown chakra. And this golden ball of energy sort of expands and contracts as needed to fill the entire inside of your space. So the golden ball is now sort of in the head, and the light of this golden ball is just kind of spreading the inside of your head, coming down into the throat. And you can sort of feel this golden ball is just infusing so much love and warmth into the body. And it's sort of collecting any toxins, negative energy from anywhere in the body where it might be stuck. Now feel that golden ball going down the shoulders. It's just kind of rolling back and forth between the left and the right side. And then you're going to feel it go down one arm, all the way down to the fingers. You can feel the light sort of spreading out from the ball and coming back into the ball. And then it's going down to the other arm, and doing the same thing. And you can feel kind of your fingers a little bit tingly at this moment. Now feel that golden ball of energy, of light, coming into the heart chakra, the chest. And you just feel so bright and light in that part of your body. Feel that warmth spreading down the rib cage into the digestive system. You can just feel that area relaxing a little bit. And now it's kind of moving into the abdomen, the sacral chakra. It's going down through the sexual reproductive organs. You can just kind of feel your hips loosen a little bit, feel a lot lighter. Okay, and then you're gonna feel the golden ball of energy go down. And at this point, maybe it's going to like split into two. And we're gonna have one golden ball in the left leg and another one in the right leg. And you're gonna feel that ball of energy just kind of rolling down your legs. Down into the ankles. Your ankles feel a little looser. And down into the feet, into your toes. And you can just feel like perhaps a sensation of tingling, of light, of warmth, might even be a little cool. Now these golden balls, this energy is going to come back up, more towards the back of your feet, back of your calf muscles, coming up the thighs. It's more concentrated on the back of your body. And you can actually feel it rolling up the spine, lower back, middle back, coming up to the upper back. And you might feel just your shoulders are loosening up a little bit. They're easing. You can feel it coming up the back of the neck. You might actually feel a little bit cool energy at this point, coming over the top of your head and back over to your head. And you're going to take another deep breath in for me, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to take a few seconds to acknowledge your wonderful, beautiful body that allows you to go about your daily life, that keeps you healthy, keeps you safe. And I want you to also recognize yourself for all that you are and all that you can be. And if you'd like to put your hands on your heart, I want you to just tell yourself, I love you and thank you. And I want you to remember that you are loved. You are always loved. Now the golden ball will create a huge ball of energy around you. So now you are the golden ball, and it's in your auric space, and it's protecting you and keeping you just full of light, full of love, centered, grounded. refreshed. Take another deep breath in. Relax. And open your eyes. Take your time and go very gently. Might be a little bit pressure in opening your eyes. So just do it very gently.
Thank you, Sanaya. That was a beautiful meditation. What really struck me was when you said, recognize who you are and who you can be. And then you say, tell yourself, I love you and thank you. And then I ask, yeah, sometimes even for me, and I'm just in this path of healing and self love and all that. And sometimes I forget that. I forget to tell myself, I love you or thank you.
We all do, right? Like we all at some point forget. And so I think these kinds of opportunities to meditate and connect with yourself, we get the chance to do that.
Yeah, thank you so much for reminding us to really take care of ourselves first and value ourselves first. And then the whole world around us, everybody around us, will value us and treat us the way we treat ourselves. Final words for everybody watching and listening, Sanaya.
Well, I just want to invite everybody to join us at You Wellbeing Festival. To buy tickets, you can go to youwellbeingfestival.com. And Online Healing Community has a special code that gives you 10% off tickets, right? It's OLH. Oh, it's going to flash on the screen.
There.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll flash it.
It's
She can
the
hear
special
you.
code OL Healing. All
Yes,
caps,
it's
no
OL.
spaces. Yep, it's on your screen. So it's
Yeah.
OL Healing. All caps, no spaces to get 10% off your tickets. So definitely come join us on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm going to be doing an amazing talk on Saturday at 11 a.m. called Live Life by Design. And I'm going to take you to visualize sort of your dream life. And also we're going to do a future self exercise. So there's going to be a lot of healing, I think, across the festival. And definitely I invite you to come visit my event at You Wellbeing Festival. I'd also like to invite you to visit me, to connect with me on the Project Loving Myself podcast. The podcast is on Spotify, also on Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also follow at Project Loving Myself podcast on Instagram and also on Facebook. Okay, so that's at Project Loving Myself. So join the movement. Take the Project Loving Myself journey with me.
Thank you so much, Sanaya, for that. And we'll definitely be there at the You Wellbeing Festival. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you. We'll see you really, really soon. Thank you so much. So inviting everybody, please join us at Project, of course, listen to Project Loving Myself. You'll love it. I've been binging on it this week. And we'll see you at the You Wellbeing Festival. Thank you so much, Sanaya. And thank you
Thank you.
everyone for joining us. Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.